No
he's
visual.
on no video. It's okay.
Yeah, video, yeah.
All right.
He's working on it. The internet's wonderful.
I'm waiting. Another shot of her?
Of Virginia? She's
nursing.
No, we don't want to right now. She's nursing.
You don't want to show that part.
You don't need to show that part.
That's Jane.
Where's George?
He's on his way. He's stuck in traffic.
Oh, okay.
Where was he?
For a Zoom call?
Where is he staying in?
Where it says Zoom.
He has a house in White Rock.
You can current it. Oh, so we could join it on big. Is there a number?
So he lives 10 minutes away from me.
You just join it.
We could take it off, right?
Wait a minute.
Jane, category.
Okay, as you can see, as you talk, you become the center of focus. So just keep that in mind. And there's different settings. You can set it on a gallery view or a speaker view. If you put it on gallery view, you'll see everybody. If you put it on speaker view, that
Where is gallery view?
So top right.
I've got gallery.
Did I purchase it? Oh.
George Bill. No, Bill, is that George?
I think this is exactly the chaos that Melanie would have loved.
Absolutely. George, sit down. No, George, sit down. Hello. No, that. Yeah.
You sit in on the sofa, they can't do it.
That's it, don't shoot. It says Marguerite quick. We'll keep going back to.
He's a very short mouth.
We're waiting for Anne at the moment.
Okay,
It's all frozen.
I'm so old now.
Michelle and Paul.
What a fight.
Michelle's got a large screen.
There's 2 pages. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, there are now 2 pages, yeah.
we have 35 participants.
There's Marguerite.
Oh, my goodness.
Nobody can see you.
We have to go back.
And I'm muted.
We're gone.
Okay.
Oh, there's 4 pages. There's 4 pages.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Four
No,
pages.
I've just got everybody on 2.
Hello. I don't know who they are.
Page.
Wow.
Is there someone in charge?
I'm missing Marguerite.
I'm in charge.
The family very well.
Marguerite's in charge, right?
So what I'd like to
Ellie, hello.
hello to all of you.
Ellie, hi.
Tell everybody to be quiet.
Who's saying hi?
The floor.
Shelly.
What I would
Shelly, hi.
say is we're going to spend the first 10 minutes of this call saying hello. I think I've frozen.
No, you haven't.
I've frozen.
No, we'll show up. There we are. We're on.
Here we are.
10 minutes.
You're actually looking at on the very big.
Then we're going to wait for Anne Constantly to come on the call.
Okay.
Brady Bunch.
Melanie, and then we're going to have a celebration slideshow of Melanie, followed by a speech from my mother, and I'm going to read a poem that was written by Melanie about marriage, and a beautiful poem about being married to George.
Oh, that should be good.
We are going to invite other people to share their memories of Melanie, followed by a Melanie legacy slideshow of her children and grandchildren, and then it will be a free.
Charlotte's going, and I'm late as usual. But she
What
hasn't
I'd like
worked out.
to
how
ask
to get that
you
one.
is that when we do this,
Bill, you should see
can
this.
you
They
put
have
your
25 or 30
screens
people.
on mute?
What happens if it all goes
It
wrong?
won't. No.
Put
Because I
your feet
haven't.
up.
Marguerite,
Joy.
Marguerite, could you have
Oh,
everyone, can you mute everybody and
I
do your
haven't pressed video, so
reintroduction?
they can't see me.
Marguerite, that way we can just listen, because right now we're getting a lot of random noise.
be patient.
So maybe just do that, put everyone on the same page.
George, is that you?
If you have any problems, just
Thank you,
ring.
darling. Thank you.
Oh, look, that's Anne. That's Di's sister.
Hello.
Did you say we
Why
should
don't we
mute
just all mute ourselves?
Mute
Di's
ourselves.
Mute ourselves,
Auntie Di's sister. Yeah.
except whoever's speaking.
I think we're muted. Okay.
Okay, I've just muted you all. And sorry about that. Were they frozen? Oh gosh.
Who's that?
So I have muted you all. So as Bill's instructions, thank you, Bill, for your IT help. It's much needed. So the order of today is a quick 10-minute hellos and to allow everyone to join the call. And then Anne Ponsonby, who I can see, will start the proceedings with her few words on Melanie. Then we will have a slideshow, which is a celebration slideshow that we've created for Melanie, followed by a speech by my mother. I will be reading a poem that was written by Melanie about her love and wonderful marriage to George. And then we will invite others to share thoughts on Melanie, starting with George, and we'll be allowed to, I'll invite others to talk about Melanie. And then we have a Melanie legacy slideshow, just to show you her beautiful sons at the moment and their gorgeous grandchildren. And then free for everyone to chat. We can do this for 24 hours if we need to. So there's plenty of time for everybody. So I'll give us another 4 minutes of saying hello, and then we'll start with Anne. When Anne starts speaking, will you please all put your screens on mute so that we can all hear her? Can you nod if you understood? Nobody understood.
Does everybody?
Also, can we turn off the video?
Unmute
If
you.
we turn off the video, will help those that have challenges. Sorry, if we turn off video while other people are talking, then those that have low bandwidth can actually see them. So Marguerite, you already are starting to break up because we're taking too much of the video stream. So if we just turn off our video when we're not talking, once we get things rolling, then it will help the bandwidth challenge.
Okay, how do I unmute everyone? Cancel. There we go. Okay. Oh no, I've muted everyone. How do I unmute people now?
Once you give them the option, then it'll pop up on their screen that they have the choice to unmute themselves.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So
Okay.
you have to say their
So
name.
shall I hear you now? Yeah, I know, right?
Okay, so you can all unmute yourselves now to
Change up.
speak. We've got 40 participants, which is wonderful.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Well, without further ado, is someone helping Anne to do her words?
Where is Anne?
Anne is there, but she's muted. Who's helping Anne?
Oh, there she is. Hi, Anne.
Unmute. Anne, you have to unmute yourself.
Up at the top, Granny.
At the bottom.
At the bottom left. Oh no.
Mum, it's John. Can someone contact her?
Anne, put your cursor down at the bottom of your screen and move it over, and there's a place at the bottom that says mute. And if you hit that, it will unmute.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, no.
Or she's talking to someone on the phone. At a certain age, we're not used to all this.
That's right.
6.
She must have muted herself. How can she not unmute it?
So yeah, she's gonna have to unmute herself. So as you can see, I've blacked out my video just to help with the bandwidth challenge.
Is anybody on an iPad?
Should
Granny's on an iPad.
other people do that as well?
Computer.
Margaret, if you unmute everyone, then Anne will be able to speak again. If you unmute everyone one more time, Granny will be able to speak.
All right, so let's all just unmute and we'll be quiet. Listen to her.
No. Oh no. Marguerite, I think you need to do what you did at the beginning and unmute everyone.
Mute all and then cancel. No, it's not working.
The host can do it, Marguerite. You should be able to do it.
Okay, let me have a look.
Maybe if you hover over Granny's
you know what?
video, is
she on an iPad?
Pull up
If you're on a computer, you can press space bar to unmute yourself.
Rename, put in, remove report.
Oh, interesting. Thank you, Bill. That's a good tip.
It said ask to unmute.
Yes, I've done that.
No.
Okay, well, maybe we'll just move on to Mummy. Do you want to say your words?
All right. And then what? Perhaps in the meantime.
That's Anne's phone.
Okay.
She's busy doing her speech.
Okay, we're going to pass on to Mummy whilst Anne figures that out, and we'll come back to Anne.
Are you happy about that?
Yes, I think that's what I do.
Right. Melanie and I did a lot together in our early childhood. Despite lots of arguments and fights, we were the best of friends. We could say what we liked about each other without it affecting us personally. Melanie had beautiful red hair that fell into curls, and my mother always called her a strawberry blonde, naturally graceful and beautiful, good at sports, tennis, riding. She was put off by falling off a horse and breaking her arm. A graceful runner and had a good pair of legs, to add.
Oh, wait a minute, I got rid of that. Oh. Marietta's speaking now.
Ah, we've got Anne.
Hello, Anne, we can hear you.
Oh, right.
Lovely, welcome back.
I'll put this aside and we'll do that later.
Back to program.
Okay. Anne, are you ready to?
She's frozen.
She's now.
No, we can hear you, Mum. We can hear you.
You can?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, well, I will start again then. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
I'm so thrilled to be able to do this for darling Melanie, whom we all loved so much. And I'm longing to hear what you all have to say. Is this okay?
Yep.
Perfect. I go back a long way with my memories. My very first memory of Melanie was meeting her off the boat from India in 1945. We'd been separated for 7 years. I don't know if you know what that's like, because you've just been separated from your very dear families for about 4 months. So it was a long time, and we were very excited. And they all turned up, and there they all were. Tanya had broken her leg and had to go to hospital. Melanie, Marietta, I'm not sure how many others were there, but darling Tante opened up her flat. Everybody went there, slept on the floor, and I saw Melanie for the first time. And I took it as a personal compliment because she has red hair like me. And we became really close right from the beginning. We didn't see each other very often because we had to go away a lot. and she was a long way away and getting married and having children. And I must say a special hello to, sorry, to Bill and Robert and Richard. It's wonderful that you're there, and your spouses. And then time went by, she went to Canada, grew up, trained as a nurse, and got married and had children. We didn't really get together much until weekenders turned up. And then we saw each other a lot. And Melanie was very much loved by everybody. She was so friendly, so easy to talk to. She was never the boss's wife, which was George, of course. She was always just Melanie, and everybody enjoyed her company. And the one thing that she did have was a very infectious giggle. She could not stop laughing once she stopped. And this happened quite a lot. And there's one occasion, weekenders had laid on a very formal dinner for us at the House of Commons. And Melanie didn't like formality very much. You probably know that. And we were all a little bit on our best behavior, dressed up, and off we went to have this dinner. And it was in a big room with portraits of former prime ministers, statues, and so on, in a very heavy, pompous atmosphere. And Melanie suddenly started to laugh, and she couldn't stop. You know that hysterical giggle that some people get sometimes? She just went on and on. And of course, I started to laugh, and I couldn't stop either. And George was not very pleased. Anyway, that was a wonderful memory because she just broke the atmosphere, and we had a lot of fun after that. I don't know what else to say, except that she was such a human person, I suppose I could put it. You couldn't shock Melanie. You could say anything to her. And she'd just say, oh, well, yeah, she would never get uptight about things. Not with us, anyway. She had a temper, but then we've all got that. I don't know where it comes from. She has this wonderful skin and hair, and she always looked elegant and smart and loved her clothes. I think what I particularly loved about Melanie was that she was so open. If you asked her how she was, she would tell you. She wouldn't just say, oh, I'm fine. She would tell you, oh, I'm having a terrible time. I've just had a terrible row with somebody, and you knew exactly where you were. So I think she was a very, very special person. I know you've all got things to say, and I don't want to take up too much time. My last memory of her is about 3 years ago when I came to this nursing home, and she was on her way down to stay with Tom and Judy, and on the way they stopped here, and Marietta, I think you were there too. They stopped here and we had a picnic in this room. So as I look around this room now, I remember Melanie giggling away as usual. Wonderful to see her. She was so thrilled to see us. We had the picnic, and she then waved goodbye, and I sadly never saw her again. She will always remain, for me, a very special niece and goddaughter. God bless you, Melanie, and I know you're in a better place now. So, adieu, as they say. God bless. Goodbye. Thank you.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much. Lovely. I'm now going to share my screen, and we will enjoy and celebrate some beautiful photographs of lovely Melanie. I hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
I will ask you if you can see my screen, so please nod if you can.
I can see you now, yes. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, lovely.
Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
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 Cool.
No sound.
Was this in the Isle of Wight? That meant George and Di.
There's no sound, but there's no, it's fuzzy, blurry.
Oh, that's better. Ah, this is tear jerking.
Oh, they're so lovely. Is that Brocket? Hello.
Marguerite, do you think you can share that with us?
Of course, it's
Yeah.
going to be on YouTube, and I will send it around to
You can
everyone.
put it in the chat. If you put the link in the chat, that would be great.
No problem. I haven't actually got
Perfect.
it yet, but I will make sure you all get it. I just wanted to note that the song When You Wish Upon a Star was sung by my mother and Melanie when they went to school together in a rickshaw in India. And Mummy will be, that's my segue to my mother's talk now. So I will pass you over to Marietta.
I will start again. Melanie and I did a lot together in our early childhood. Despite lots of arguments and fights, we were the best of friends. We could say what we liked about each other without it affecting us personally. Melanie had beautiful red hair that fell into curls, and my mother always called her strawberry blonde. Naturally graceful and beautiful, good at sport, tennis, riding. She was put off by riding by falling off a horse and breaking her arm. A graceful runner and had a good pair of legs to add. Memories on Melanie when we were aged 7 and 5 years old, with both of us being taken to school in a rickshaw in Bangalore, both of us singing I Wish Upon a Star, which was our favourite song at the time. Sometimes on our travels by rickshaw to the convent of the Good Shepherd, the rickshaw wallahs would swap us onto another rickshaw as he had another job to go to. Our parents would have been horrified if they'd known. When living in our house in Bangalore, and while Melanie and I were meant to be resting in the afternoon, our ayah called us from the open window of our bedroom and invited us both to join her in the hut that she lived in at the back of the house. There we were, both given a bowl of curry to eat with our hands, which we loved and was different. While eating our curry, we watched with great fascination as another dark and exotic lady was massaging Aya with oil from top to toe. Melanie had a temper that matched her hair. One evening, having supper with me, and I think cousins Paul and Mark were with us. This would be in our house in Bangalore. We were eating homemade chocolate ice cream. For some reason, Melanie lost her temper and threw a knife across the table and just missed me. I instantly retaliated and threw a fork back. I was more accurate and it went into her head. According to Melanie, it hit her eye. I, of course, was severely punished and put straight to bed. Melanie would always give an outward impression of being fierce. Underneath, she was very sensitive. Going on a fishing expedition with our father, my mother would organize fishing rods for us both to keep as unoccupied. The fishing rods would consist of a stick and attached to it a string with a safety pin. Melanie was very successful. She caught fish after fish. She showed she was a true fisherman, keeping calm, jump up and down, frustration, not catching any. Coming back on the trip back to England, she would enjoy eating chocolate bars that were handed out, and inserted in between the chocolate would be cream marzipan, which she found delicious. We had a bit of drama trip going back to England. As usual, Melanie was up to mischief, and while entertaining herself with Tanya, throwing oranges up to Tanya, who was in the upper bunk of our cabin, Tanya leant out too far and came crashing through her leg. Tanya was then taken to the nearest hospital to have her leg set. This occurrence was the captain wanted us all to get off the boat. They're holding the boat up. My mother. We both had in the Isle of Wight. Last year, we arrived from India and spent all Mark and Jane, which was fun for us all, as we all lived in this very big house with Granny and Grampy, and we had our cousins to play with. One incident while we are living on the Isle of Wight, we were walking on the beach with my mother and Aunt Tricia. There, Melanie and Paul found a large object wrapped up in a rope, which they both excitedly dragged up the beach. Both our mothers came to the conclusion it was a bomb. They made us run the beach as quickly as possible. They were sure that Melanie and Paul had dragged up the beach was a bomb, that any minute the bomb would explode. In fact, the bomb turned out to be an old coat fender. When our parents were in India, we boarded at the convent of the Holy Family and had idyllic holidays with Granny and Grampy in the Isle of Wight. At half terms, we spent with Tante and Margaret, who took us to the cinema and introduced us to London theatres. On occasions, with our grandparents on the Isle of Wight, Melanie's beautiful Gothic Anne would appear from London for the weekend, and we stand in awe of her beauty, and were equally impressed as she had a special bedroom called the Blue Room. Anne would patiently have the one I remember was Old Maid. She always told us when playing this game that she did not want to be an old maid. Of course, she never was. Eventually, our parents returned from India, and from then onwards, back to family life was a happy one. Melanie and I joined the Girl Guides and enjoyed camping that it brought with it our life. We loved. When we were living in problems, we would organise lots of shows as our Aunt Mary gramophone. We would endlessly play records. The one we played most was the Flowers. In one of our shows, Melanie was the girl with the grass skirt. She's a very good hula dancer. She moved her rather well. My friend Mary acted as the same. We fell in love with the hula girl on this so-called island. My father was the makeup artist. Tom and his friend Adrian would be Barney and Teresa would be gypsies and danced a part of the of Carmen, and I would do making it up as I went along. We would put on old evening dresses for our shows. One occasion, our cousin Joan came to visit us from Canada with her friend Audrey to make space for them, for somewhere for them to sleep. My mother organised some of us to share a bed, which this meant that some of us put at the end of the bed. Melanie was put at the end of my bed. She loved sucking her thumb. And that night, instead of sucking her thumb, she sucked my big toe. I cruelly pushed her out of bed. Life became difficult when our darling father died. It was a black time for us all, especially for my mother, but we all survived and carried on forward. Going to Melanie's grown-up years, she qualified as a nurse at the London hospital and made many friends and very much enjoyed the social life that the hospital gave. There's one incident I record when my mother was living in Punsonby Terrace. We were all with her except Teresa, who was a nanny in Germany. Melanie was taken to a nightclub called the Blue Angel by a friend called Richard Beamish. Melanie was wearing a lovely gold lamy dress which went beautifully with her red hair. They both, for some reason, got very drunk at the club and made a great display of themselves by dancing on a table. Arriving back from the club, my mother, seeing them both in a drunken state, was horrified and immediately went out of the house in her dressing gown to see if she could find a taxi for Richard, or a taxi to take him back to the barracks. He was in the Welsh Guards at the time and needed to get back to barracks. A policeman spotted my mother wandering over Vauxhall Bridge in her dressing gown and asked my mother if he could help. She said that her daughter's boyfriend was drunk and needed to get back to barracks. The policeman was very helpful, drove my mother back to Punsonby Terrace, picked up drunken Richard and took him straight back to the barracks. Again, another story in Punsonby Terrace with her cousin Paul. They both gave a Purple Heart party. Purple Hearts was the fashionable drug to take at the time, 60s. As the guests arrive at Punsonby Terrace, they'd be asked to climb over a spiked fence, and then they would have to climb down the ladder into the basement. There at the bottom of the ladder would be Paul, handing out Purple Hearts. I assure you were purple sweets in the shape of hearts. Melanie was a great reader to the extent that she'd find books that were meant for her at Christmas. She would unwrap her presents before Christmas, read them, and rewrap them again. Parents unaware that she had already read the books that were given to her. Just to add, Melanie was an extremely talented person. She did well in her exams, passing her school certificates with good grades. She was like Granny, who copied paintings. This was something that Melanie did as well. Made wonderful clothes for herself and was clever at carpentry, making bunk beds for her son and a wooden screen and many other things. I would often borrow her clothes, which were far smarter than mine, and often on her trips back to England from Canada, she'd be dressed beautifully in a smart black coat. Melanie went off to Canada for an adventure and met the love of her life, George. And through their married life, George would make sure that Melanie kept in touch with her family in England by paying for her and their children to come and see us, as he knew how much she loved us all and how much Melanie enjoyed being with the family. Even the times when George was not so well off, George always made sure that Melanie was always there to see us. George was incredibly generous to my mother. in many ways helping her out financially. And he carried on this great tradition we have with families in Canada and families in England, where we help each other in times of need. This recently happened when we helped out our cousin Joan in New York, when she's reaching the end of her life and was in dire straits. A prime example of bringing the families from Canada and England together was the unforgettable weekend where we all so very generously entertained by George and his family at Pocket Hall with an amazing firework display at the end of the evening, which must have been organised by Bill. We now still have this never-ending great connection with Canada through Melanie meeting George. We have our good-looking cousins, well, nephews actually. Nephews. Yeah, Richard, Bill and Robert. And of course, we still have got to know Bill's beautiful wife, Robin, who's been at the forefront of organising the Canadian side of this celebration tonight. Also, we need to get to know the next younger generation of the family in Canada. I would like to thank Sophie for initiating this wonderful idea of remembrance for Melanie, my daughter Marguerite hosting the event and creating the music and photographs so well and brilliantly. And for darling, for my daughter, Darling Robin for organising the Canadian side to make this celebration of Melanie's life possible. I would like, if you've got a glass on hand, to make a toast. Please raise your glass to Melanie.
To Melanie.
To Melanie.
Melanie.
Well
done.
Yes,
Bravo.
well done.
Okay.
Oh.
I'm just going to read a poem, but a beautiful poem that was written by Melanie. Melanie's poem. Our wedding day was the beginning of you and me. From this time on, in spurts and starts, our growth began to be. Through this space of time, our hearts grow as one, an event that will be. Through hurts and scrapes, we have learnt the worth of you and me. And now our children around us grow, extensions of you and me. On this earth, though troubled bound it be, we will exist as you and me. With hearts entwined, we will see more worths of you and me. Okay, Bill, if it's all right, I'm going to invite you and George to say a few words if you want to. We're now in an unscripted part of tonight's celebration, so I'm just putting you on the spot. But if it's appropriate, would you like to say a few words?
Sure.
Thank you.
Yeah. Where am I? Oh, there I am.
You're on That's a Crowd.
Hi. Hello to all of you. There's too many to say individually, but I see you all on these little squares, which is sort of funny. Wow, I really, anyways, to all of you, I really mean hello. I just had one thought, one concept. I'll try to make it short. Those of you who know me, that's almost impossible to do, but what the heck. Just think of you and I, ourselves, somehow she built a better self. She had that scaffolding, which is what we are. Think of your own families. You are scaffolding to them. They are scaffolding to you. It sounds silly, but if you think about it, and that's it. I just, in tribute to Melanie, I'm making the shortest speech I've ever made in my life. There you go.
And I will make a long one. I don't really have a prepared speech. This is off the cuff. So, back when I was born, this was, Mom had an interesting life in that it was challenging. She brought up 3 kids 2 dogs, husband, and some pets, and all of you. She always had, like I said in my little post, she had the open arms. It started in Oakville when she would start the neighborhood block, I forget, block parent, and we would hang this sign outside our window, which basically meant if you're in trouble, you can come to us. And she would watch the streets and look for anybody that was in trouble and help them out. And this happened on a very, very rare occasion, but she was there. She would help the neighbors mend their clothes, build costumes, give them a cup of sugar, because we lived in a small townhouse along Lake Ontario. We were fortunate enough to buy 10 acres and expand our house to this gigantic, monstrous, crazy 20,000 square foot facility where it grew in time. All my friends can tell you it started very small and grew outwards. We brought our 2 dogs, our family over there. We lived in a small trailer on the property as we grew this house. And living in that trailer was hell because there was, 4 of us, because Richard was at university, trying to cope with the trailer trash life while we're building this phase 1 of a mansion and on 10 acres. Well, Mom would always keep us together, and our hot water would run out for several days at a time, and she would truck barrels of water from the top of the hill all the way down, yes, with a bit of our help, until we figured out how to insulate our garden hose that was feeding our trailer. But she did it in good spirits. She never let it break because we knew, or she taught us, that in 2 weeks, which ended up to be several months, not quite a few months, we're going to be in this house, which was part 1 of many, because we were also smart to build a house in parts. As my friends will tell you, that was a long process. We grew the house, we added a pool, we invited friends over, As my friends will probably tell you, I guess I saw it, she was very welcoming to everybody. It didn't matter who you were. If you were this, that, or the other thing, she accepted you. That's just the way you are. And she would call bullshit on anything you had to say because she was that type of person. Because she learned to try and not break through your beliefs, but challenge you. And not that that was quite her mission, but what you're learning was something that she was going through in her life, and she was passing this on to you. So we all went on her journey while we grew up. Now, being the 3 kids we are, I have no idea. She's the only mom I've ever had. So I'm assuming she's the best mom ever, right? I got a pedestal and she's way up there. And vice versa, she had to deal with us. You know, we weren't the great, well, you can say we weren't the greatest 3 kids. Of course, we had our challenges. We're completely different. And she let us be individuals. Let us do and act and look into. And my dad's, of course, part of that too. I'm not going to exclude that, but we're talking about my mom today. She let us be who we are. Everybody was who they are. She helped grow this house. She designed it inside and out with my dad. My dad would draw the plans and she would fill it. They'd argue. Of course they would argue. They would argue nonstop. But we learned that that was normal. And that's part of life. And that's what you should do, is challenge each other rather than be complacent. So she challenged everybody. She challenged you. I bet you, how many times did she argue with you? Or over a glass of wine or otherwise? I would be that kid, or we would be those kids that said, Mom, we have to make 1,000 cookies tomorrow. Can you do it? And sure enough, she did. Bitching and swearing and F this and F that, but she did it. Was she violent, as Marietta was pointing out? It was funny because us three brothers, we get into a fight. And, you know, I'm trying to go for the other death. My older brother learned karate and all that. My younger brother's like keeping up. He's growing taller than us. My mom would come around with a ruler and threaten to hit us. And she'd get right up there, and she couldn't do it. She just tapped. She's just like, no, because she was very gentle. Through the years, she, like I said, grew our house, grew our family. We'd travel, and we'd drag some of our friends with us, dragged by their ears. We would organize big events in other countries. We've always considered everybody our friend as our family, and our family are our friends. And that's why, just to bring it home for me, my friends table was front and center with all my family, because I considered my friends my family, because you can choose your friends, right? I guess you can choose your family too. That's all I really have. I was going off on a cuff there, so thank you. And I invite anybody else that wants to talk. I'm sure I have more, but I'm gonna save that and on.
Well done, Bill.
We go from there.
That was awesome, Bill.
Thank you.
Does another brother want to speak? Robert? Richard? Throwing it out to the family first.
I only have a few memories that I want to share because there's so much to say. How can you sum up Melanie in any words? Other than the only thing I have memories right now of is her laughter at everything. Laughing constantly, enjoying life, making costumes. As Bill pretty much summed up a lot of what I would want to say. She was just great.
Yeah.
I miss her.
Sorry, Robert.
No,
Mom definitely had a good laugh. She was definitely the doer in the family. She wouldn't hesitate to do gardening. She wouldn't hesitate to build like a go-kart or bunk beds. She would learn, as Anne was saying, she would copy art, she would paint. She'd make all these dinners. She would make sure she did not hesitate to do things from scratch. She definitely, as Bill was saying, very welcoming. She was,
yes, Gail.
She was very commanding. She, pushed us all. She made sure she had all these stories of her family and her sisters and brother. She was fascinated by so many things. Mom was never one to put up with anyone's shit, and she definitely let us know that. There's, as we are all saying, there's so much that could be said. It's hard to kind of sum it up in words. She's had one hell of a life, and it was just endless. She's become a world traveler. She was very adaptable. I mean, she learned how to survive the wild in Africa, and I just remember her and I laughing while we're like leading into a pod of hippos when our life was in danger, and we're just like laughing away. So that's typical mom.
Cake. African cake.
Cake. Yeah, exactly. She was very gentle, loving, and even though she had a temper still in her body, I mean, she was very good to the grandchildren. I mean, what more could be said? So, yeah.
And Dad.
Here we are. Anyone else?
Thank you. Who's next? Anyone else? Well, whilst you all...
I could say something. I'd like to say something.
Please.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I just, very quickly, I just want to say how much I miss my Aunt Melanie. you guys. Just the most amazing memories of such a creative person, and at the same time learning how to understand what a fighting personality she could have. Like, it was loving, and at the same time this kind of her sense of humor. I just loved so much. I had such an appreciation for. And I remember going to Marietta's 2 years ago and seeing her for dinner, and just feeling sad because I was already felt like I was saying goodbye to this woman that I just missed her laugh and missed that personality so much already at that time. So I love you, Melanie, and miss you so much.
Lovely, Lynn. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynn.
Love you, Lynn.
I think now would be a good time to look at the second slideshow of tonight, which is the legacy slideshow of Melanie. So without further ado, I'm going to share my screen. And you know, the music that this one is set to is the Waltz of the Flowers by Tchaikovsky. And this is one of Melanie's favorite tunes. So I'll share that with you now.
Okay. Great, we can see you, but not the slideshow.
Okay, no, it came to an end. Sorry, I couldn't find the Zoom again. So that was the slideshow. I just want to see if we could either, Bill, what do you recommend? You seem to understand Zoom better than I. We can just throw it open to the floor and have people chat, or if anyone else wants to say something, now is a good time. It's whatever we want to do.
Yeah, let's just open it up for whoever wants to say something. There's a lot of people here, but I tried to speak on behalf of a lot of people so that you don't formally have to say anything, but if you want to chime in, just be mindful of the bandwidth. If you can, for some of us that are not talking, just keep your videos off.
And just to recap, I will be sending out the links to both those slideshows and the recording of this Zoom call so that you'll all be able to see it in your own time. But yeah, we've got 43 participants, which I'm really thrilled about. So get off, turn your mute buttons on and give us some news.
It's amazing. Sorry, yeah.
Go on, Bill.
And okay, sorry, I was gonna say in this really weird 2020, let me turn on my video just to be fair.
Yeah, that'd be
in this really weird 2020 COVID, what do you call it? This is a world on a virus that we're winning. And here we all are as a united front from different countries, UK to Canada, to the States, to Italy. It's quite amazing. This is, you know, there's a lot of people here to pay their respects, which I appreciate. And it's funny because we've actually touched all the, Mom's touched all the continents that we're all participating from, and then some. And so, yeah, if you want to chime in, it's all good. This is an interesting time with Zoom and other things. I'm saying I'm a lot. So, yeah, sorry, I'm going to leave it at that. If anyone wants to say anything, you're all game. I'm good.
No, well done, Bill.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think, you know, I think the Canada and UK relationship must go on. And we must keep in touch in, you know, through Melanie and George, we have that great connection. And all these lovely photographs of your grandchildren, George, Richard and Bill, they're absolutely gorgeous. And Robert, you must keep in touch with us as well. You know, it's lovely. It's lovely to have that connection, and we have that history through my grandfather, your great-grandfather. So there is a strong, very strong connection with Canada, which we must keep on keeping together. And I hope we will in the future.
Hear, hear. Right. Again, I think let's wind it up.
Well, it's lovely, everybody joining in. I think that's absolutely fantastic. A great tribute to Melanie. You know, it shows how much we love her, and you know, that we all cared about her, and it's just wonderful that we're all here together tonight to say goodbye and think of her.
Yeah.
And lovely to see you all, and thank you for all being there. It's been wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Lots of love.
Lovely to see
Thank you.
everybody.
So good to see everybody. So lovely. Thank you so much. And Marietta, we need to get together and toast Melanie
Nice.
in
I
London.
really like that.
Yes.
Lynn, you know, perhaps we're going off to Somerset this Sunday, but when I get back, we'll meet up with your two little ones.
My two little.
I think she agrees.
That would be
Adorable.
She says, "Mommy, have a glass of alcohol, please."
That would be great, Lynn. It's so lovely to see everybody, and you know, seeing you all. It's just wonderful seeing you all together, and the love that you all show, Melanie. It's wonderful. It really is. And thank you for joining. It's absolutely fantastic.
Great farewell to my
yeah.
to Melanie.
Yeah, a great farewell.
And I'm very impressed because it really is a very different way to say goodbye to somebody that has left us. But I thought it was very beautiful.
Yeah, and we, you know, we saw every aspect of her life, and from her sons Bill, you know, telling us, you know, the other side, things that we probably didn't know about, and George giving his little talk is absolutely fabulous. It really is.
I want to hear more about this Purple Heart Party.
No.
Outrageous. Was that Paul?
Yes.
Paul. I think you need to explain. Were they really sweets?
Well said, Marguerite. We need to know more.
Definitely. Can we have another party?
Yeah. Let's do this
I
again.
think we should organise it, Marguerite.
Yeah, let's set up the next Purple Heart family party.
I think us youngsters need to be better than the older ones because
sounds like they're ahead of us.
They are totally ahead of us.
Well, you know, we were outrageous in our youth.
Steady on, Marietta.
Keep going, keep going. Let me pour you another glass of wine and see what comes out.
Yeah, keep going. We want to know more, Marietta.
Anyway, love to you all.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Including me.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Richard.
Take care.
Thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thanks everybody for attending.
Thank you for
Thank
inviting
you,
me.
For
guys.
inviting us.
And thanks for organizing it, Marietta. Good job.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Bye, Granny.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Goodbye. Nephews. Stepchildren.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Ah, wow.
Let's stay on. If anyone wants to stay on.
Yeah, I'm over.
He's someone that I will never forget.
That's
Never forget.
No.
No, you hear me?
I can hear you, Shelley. What were you saying?
Yes, now Melanie. You can never forget her. There are images that pop into my head. Things she told me, like when the boys were growing up, they would throw boxes of cereal on the floor. It was a matter of, you know, when our twins came, it was difficult. You know, how do you keep them busy, etc. So Melanie suggested, you know, or mentioned when her kids were little, they kind of crunched up the cereal on the floor, and she said it was terrific. You know, just let them do it. An activity. You know, we did different that. But she was what the hell or bullshit. That is one of my favorite expressions.
Bullshit.
That's so true.
Uncle Tom sadly couldn't make it tonight. It was all a bit too raw for him, but he did send some photographs and told me a story of Melanie attending Dominic's wedding, and congratulated Melanie on getting through the entire ceremony without using the F word until at the end. She couldn't hold it more, and it just had to come out at the end. But she thought, you know, she'd done very well. So that was Tom's story. And he is planting one of his favorite trees in his garden, and underneath the tree will be a time capsule dedicated to Melanie. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do come over and see us. And we'll come over and see you.
Working on
COVID's a bit complicated.
Well,
next year.
Richard's working on it.
That's right.
We're all working on it.
Yes. It's enough for us to get together.
And I just want to shout out to Robin. I know you're listening and you've got a bad back, but it's lovely to have you in the background, and just really wonderful of you to assist as you have done. You've been such a huge support for all of us that are so far away. And I want to shout out some love to you, and we will organize a smaller Zoom time when you're feeling better. So just sending you lots of love.
That would be great, Margaret.
I didn't know that.
Good idea.
Oh, and you're wonderful.
Yes. Very nice, sweet.
Okay, we're gonna go and have a private toast at my house. So thanks for everybody for attending.
See you and George.
Yeah, have a good one.
See you and Elliot and Shelley. And I've forgotten your twins' names.
Thank you, Bill, for inviting us.
Ah.
Lots of love. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Yes, in London. Be lovely to see
Love
you.
you all.
I wish we could continue doing this.
I'm sorry?
I wish we could continue doing this.
What was that?
2 hours, you know, we get to know one another a lot better. Oh, well. C'est la vie.
Start. We'll see each other again.
Yes, I sure hope so.
Oh, yeah.
Well, now it's not easy.
Robert, you're looking very handsome.
I try. Shave. Haircut.
Mother would be proud.
Thank you, thank you.
I guess there must be an X up there.
Bye. So we'll say goodbye?
Ready?
Yeah. Bye.
Bye, family.
Bye.
Bye.